Emma sat by the cafe window, fingers twisting around her coffee cup. The rain outside tapped against the glass, soft and steady, but inside her chest everything felt restless. Her cousin's wedding was coming, and she knew what was waiting for her there. Pitying looks, whispered questions, and her mother's endless lectures about being single at 26. Emma couldn't face it again. That's why she was here, waiting for him, the man who was supposed to be her fake boyfriend. When the door opened, she looked up and froze. Tall, dark suit. Sharp eyes that didn't just look, they searched. He carried himself with quiet confidence, like he belonged to another world. Every head in the cafe turned toward him, but he walked straight to her table as if he had already decided she was his destination. Emma? His voice was deep, steady, but there was something in it, like a hidden weight. She nodded quickly. Yes, you must be Ryan. He sat across from her, smooth and controlled. No smile, no effort to make her comfortable. Just silence for a moment, his gaze on her like he was memorizing her face. Emma cleared her throat. Thank you for coming. I just need someone to play a role. My family as well, they're too much. They think something is wrong with me because I'm not married yet. Ryan leaned back, eyes narrowing slightly. So you want me to lie for you? Emma flinched. When you say it like that, it sounds bad. I need someone to stand by me. Just pretend to be my boyfriend for a while. That's all. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. And you chose me, why? His eyes burned into hers and she shifted uncomfortably. Because you looked reliable. He gave a soft, humorless laugh. Reliable. Interesting choice of word. Emma bit her lip. Maybe this was a mistake. Maybe she should have chosen someone more friendly, less intimidating. I'll do it, Ryan said suddenly. Her eyes widened. You will? Yes. His gaze softened just a fraction. But on one condition, Emma frowned. Condition? You follow my rules. I decide how we act in public. No arguments. His voice was low, firm, like a command. Emma blinked. Wait, what? Why would you... If I'm playing your boyfriend, Emma, I won't play it halfway. People will believe it, because I'll make them believe it. There was something unsettling in the way he said it. A promise, or maybe a warning. Emma nodded slowly. All right, fine, if that's what it takes. Ryan's lips curved, not into a smile, but something darker. Good, then it settled. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The rain outside grew heavier, the cafe buzzing with quiet chatter around them. Yet it felt like there was only the two of them at this table, caught in a strange, silent pull. Emma broke it first. I'll pay you, of course. Whatever fee you think is fair. Ryan's jaw tightened. His eyes darkened in a way she didn't understand. We'll discuss that later, she frowned. Why later? He leaned in close, his voice almost a whisper. Because, Emma, you have no idea what this agreement really means. Her heart stumbled in her chest. For a second, she thought she saw something in his eyes. Something sharp, dangerous, and possessive. But then he leaned back, calm again, as if nothing had happened. Text me the details, he said, standing up. I'll be there. And just like that, he was gone, leaving Emma staring after him, coffee untouched, her heart pounding in ways she couldn't explain. This was supposed to be a simple deal. So why did it already feel like she had just stepped into something she wouldn't survive? Emma smoothed the folds of her dress nervously as she stood outside her parents' house. The soft glow of light spilled from the windows, laughter drifting through the evening air. It should have been comforting. Instead, it made her stomach twist, relax. Her head turned. Ryan stood beside her, tall and steady in a crisp black shirt. His sleeves were rolled up, revealing strong forearms, his expression calm but unreadable. Emma tried to smile. Easy for you to say. You're not about to be grilled by nosy aunts and cousins. He arched a brow. Isn't that the point of hiring me? To handle the questions? She sighed. Yes, but... He took a step closer, lowering his voice. Then let me handle it. Her breath caught at his nearness. For a man she'd only just met, he had this way of taking up all the space around her, like she couldn't escape his pull. Before she could reply, the door opened, and her mother came rushing out. Emma, you're late! Her mother's eyes shifted instantly to Ryan. Her brows arched, mouth parting in surprise. And, oh my, you didn't tell me you were bringing someone. Emma flushed. Mom, this is Ryan, my boyfriend. The word felt strange on her tongue, but Ryan didn't flinch. Instead, he stepped forward smoothly, offering his hand with a firm grip. It's a pleasure, Mrs. Collins. His voice was warm now, almost charming. Her mother's eyes sparkled. Well, well. Aren't you handsome? Come in, both of you! Inside, the house buzzed with chatter. Relatives filled the living room, kids running around, cousins catching up. All eyes turned toward Emma and Ryan as they entered. Ryan's arm slid casually around Emma's waist, firm, steady, too real. She stiffened slightly but didn't pull away, reminding herself it was part of the act. Still, her heart skipped as he leaned close, his lips brushing her ear. Smile, he murmured. They're watching. Emma forced a smile, cheeks heating. Her aunt, sharp-eyed and always curious, swooped in first. Emma, who's this tall drink of water? Ryan's lips curved into a smooth, confident smile. Ryan, Emma's boyfriend. The word rolled off his tongue like it belonged there. Oh, finally. Another cousin whispered loudly. She found someone. Emma's ears burned, but Ryan only pulled her closer, his thumb brushing lightly against her side. She tried to move, but his grip tightened. Dinner was a blur of questions. Where they met, what he did, how serious they were. Emma stumbled over answers, but Ryan spoke with ease, weaving a story that sounded natural, believable. Too believable. When her uncle asked, So Ryan, what do you do for a living? Ryan's eyes flickered briefly, a shadow passing through them. I run a small company, he said smoothly. Not a lie, not the truth. Emma didn't notice the way her uncle leaned in, impressed. Halfway through the meal, Emma leaned toward him, whispering under her breath. You don't have to hold me the whole time. Ryan's gaze slid to hers, dark and steady. Yes, I do. Her heart jumped. Why? He didn't answer. Instead, his hand tightened around hers under the table, hidden from everyone else's view. When dessert came, one of her cousins, Mark, sat too close to Emma, teasing her about old childhood stories. He laughed, brushing her shoulder lightly. Emma laughed too, embarrassed. But then Ryan's voice cut through, low and sharp. Mark. Her cousin blinked, surprised. Yeah? Ryan's eyes were hard, his tone calm but firm. Move, Mark chuckled awkwardly. Hey, relax, man. I'm just joking. Ryan leaned in slightly, his expression unreadable but his voice like steel. I said move. The whole table went quiet. Mark coughed, muttered something, and shifted away. Emma's eyes widened. Ryan, that was... He turned to her, his features softening just enough for only her to see. Too close, he murmured. I don't like it, her breath hitched. For a moment she forgot this was all pretend. The look in his eyes wasn't acting. It was something else, something dangerous. Later, when they finally left the house, Emma exhaled heavily. You didn't have to scare him like that. He's my cousin. Ryan's jaw tightened. I don't care. He shouldn't touch you like that. She stared at him, baffled. Ryan, this is just a deal. You don't have to take it so seriously. He looked down at her, his eyes dark and unreadable. Who says I'm pretending? The words lingered in the night air long after he walked her to her door, leaving her frozen on the porch, heart pounding with confusion. Emma hummed quietly as she arranged files on her desk the next morning. Work was her safe space, a place where no one asked about weddings or boyfriends. At least usually. Emma. She turned to see Liam striding over, his usual bright smile in place. Tall, with easy charm and friendly eyes, Liam was the type who made everyone laugh. He leaned against her desk. So, who was the guy you left with last night? I saw you two walking together. Emma nearly choked. You saw that? Of course, he grinned. Your boyfriend, right? Finally letting us meet him? She forced a laugh. Maybe later, he's... Private, huh? Liam teased, eyes twinkling. That's okay, as long as he treats you right. His tone softened. Sincere now. You deserve someone good, Emma. Her cheeks warmed. Liam had always been kind to her, But before she could answer, a deep voice cut in behind her. She does. Emma stiffened. Slowly, she turned. Ryan stood there, in her office. Dark suit, sharp eyes, presence so powerful the air seemed to shift. Ryan? She gasped. What are you doing here? He glanced at Liam briefly, a cool flick of his eyes that carried too much weight, before focusing back on Emma. I was nearby. Thought I'd pick you up for lunch. Liam blinked, surprised. Oh, so you're her boyfriend, Ryan said smoothly, sliding an arm around Emma's waist with deliberate ease. The word landed like a claim. Emma's face heated. Ryan, you didn't have to, but Ryan wasn't looking at her. His gaze was locked on Liam, calm but razor sharp. And you are? Liam cleared his throat. Liam, a friend, co-worker. Ryan's lips curved, but there was no warmth. Friend, good. He tightened his grip on Emma slightly. Friends know boundaries. Emma gasped softly, nudging him. Ryan, she whispered, warning in her tone. But Ryan only looked down at her, eyes softening just for her. Ready for lunch? She had no choice but to nod, letting him guide her out. Liam's puzzled gaze followed them, but he said nothing. Outside, Emma finally pulled away. Ryan, what was that about? He didn't answer right away. He opened the car door for her, waiting until she was seated before sliding in himself. Then, quietly but firmly, he said, I don't like him. Emma blinked. What, Liam? He's just a friend. Ryan's jaw tightened. He looks at you like he wants more. She shook her head, exasperated. You're imagining things. Besides, it's none of your business. This is pretend, remember? Ryan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. His voice was low, dangerous. Pretend doesn't mean I'll let anyone else touch you. Or want you. Her heart skipped. Ryan. He finally turned, eyes burning into hers. When you're with me, Emma, you're mine. Deal or not. The words sent a shiver through her. She told herself it was just an act, just part of the role he was playing. But deep down, a part of her wasn't so sure anymore. The office buzzed with excitement that evening. Emma's company was hosting a small party at a downtown lounge, and she had reluctantly agreed to go. She almost decided to skip, but Ryan had insisted. It'll look suspicious if your coworkers never see me with you, he'd said flatly, while adjusting his tie in her mirror. Emma rolled her eyes. You don't have to come to everything. It's not like they'll quiz me. Ryan met her gaze in the mirror, his eyes calm but heavy with something she couldn't name. If they'll be there, I'll be there. She had stopped arguing. The lounge was warm and lively, soft music playing, glasses clinking. Emma chatted with her teammates, trying to enjoy the evening. Ryan stood close, his presence commanding even when silent. He didn't blend in like everyone else. He looked like he owned the place, and then Liam appeared. Emma, he called cheerfully, weaving through the crowd with 2 glasses in hand. He handed one to her, smiling. You look great tonight. Emma smiled awkwardly. Thanks, Liam. Ryan's hand slid around her waist, pulling her gently but firmly against his side. She always does. Liam blinked at the sudden closeness. Right. Of course. He chuckled lightly, trying to shake off the tension. So, Emma, want to dance? Just one song? Emma hesitated. She opened her mouth, but Ryan's grip tightened. No, Ryan said flatly. Liam frowned. Excuse me? Ryan's eyes locked onto his, sharp and unblinking. She's not dancing with you. The air shifted. Conversations around them seemed to falter as people noticed the tension. Emma's heart raced. Ryan, she whispered sharply. You can't just... Yes, I can, he murmured, eyes never leaving Liam. Because she's mine. The word mine dropped like a stone in the silence. Liam's jaw clenched, his usual friendliness slipping. Emma, do you want to dance? He asked pointedly, ignoring Ryan. Emma froze, caught between them. I couldn't, but Ryan stepped forward, towering slightly, his voice low and steady. She already has a partner, me. The look he gave Liam wasn't loud, wasn't dramatic, but it carried weight, a silent warning that made Liam stiffen. After a tense beat, Liam raised his hands in surrender. All right, fine. He backed off, muttering something under his breath as he walked away. Emma spun to Ryan, anger and shock mixed on her face. "What was that?" "You embarrassed me in front of everyone." Ryan leaned closer, his voice rough with restraint. "I won't watch another man put his hands on you, ever." Her breath hitched. His eyes were blazing, full of something raw, unspoken, and too real to be part of their act. For a moment, the room disappeared, the noise fading. It was just him, his hand still warm at her waist, his gaze burning into hers like she belonged to him. Emma whispered, almost trembling, "Ryan, this isn't part of the deal." He stared at her, his jaw tight, his voice a whisper only she could hear. "I don't care about the deal anymore." The drive back from the party was silent, too silent. Emma sat with her arms crossed, staring out the window, her cheeks still burning from the scene Ryan had caused. Her mind kept replaying the moment he'd said mine in front of everyone, the way people had stared, the way Liam's expression had hardened. Ryan gripped the steering wheel tightly, his jaw set, eyes fixed on the road. He didn't look at her once. Finally, Emma snapped. "What was that back there?" His voice was calm, too calm. "What was what?" "You know exactly what I mean," she burst out, turning to him. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone. You made it look like I can't even speak for myself." "Ryan, you're supposed to be pretending!" His jaw clenched. "I wasn't pretending." Her heart skipped. "Then what were you doing?" He didn't answer. Emma leaned forward, frustration bubbling over. "You can't just claim me like that. You don't own me. This was supposed to be an act, a favor, nothing more." Ryan suddenly pulled the car over to the side of the road. The tires crunched against the gravel, the night air heavy around them. He turned to her slowly, his eyes blazing. "Don't tell me I don't care, Emma." His voice was low, raw. "Do you think I can just sit there and watch some man touch you? Smile at you like you belong to him?" Her breath caught. The intensity in his tone shook her. "Ryan," she whispered, softer now. He leaned closer, his voice trembling with control he was about to lose. I tried to keep it business, to keep my distance. But every time I see another man near you, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind." Emma's heart pounded so loudly she was sure he could hear it. "Why are you saying this?" His hand lifted, hesitated for a second, then cupped her cheek gently. "Because I can't keep lying. Not to you, not to myself." Before she could think, before she could breathe, his lips crashed onto hers. It wasn't gentle. It wasn't slow. It was desperate, hungry, filled with all the emotions he had been holding back. Emma gasped against his mouth, caught between shock and a rush of feelings she didn't understand. Her hands pushed against his chest, but then, against her own will, they curled into his shirt, pulling him closer. The kiss deepened, his thumb brushing her jaw, his breath rough and uneven. When he finally pulled back, his forehead rested against hers, his voice hoarse. "You drive me insane, Emma. And I can't let anyone else have you. Not now, not ever." Emma's eyes were wide, her lips trembling from the force of his kiss. She wanted to deny it, to remind him this was all supposed to be fake. But the truth burned too clearly in his eyes. This wasn't pretend anymore, and that terrified her. The next morning, Emma woke with her lips still tingling from Ryan's kiss. She tried to shake it off, tried to convince herself it had only been the heat of the moment, a mistake born out of tension. But deep down she knew the truth. There had been nothing fake about it. Still, she told herself to focus on work, on normal things. But normal was not what she found that day. Her boss had sent her to deliver some papers to a luxury hotel downtown. Emma stepped into the grand lobby, marble floors gleaming, chandeliers sparkling overhead. She felt out of place instantly. As she approached the front desk, her eyes caught a familiar figure. Ryan. He wasn't in his usual simple black shirt or suit tonight. No, he was in a perfectly tailored three-piece suit, flanked by two men who looked like bodyguards. People greeted him with respect, some even bowing their heads slightly. Staff rushed to open doors for him, and he walked through the lobby like he owned it, because he did. Emma froze, heart hammering. She quickly asked a receptionist, her voice shaky. That man, Ryan. What's his job here?" The receptionist blinked, surprised. "You don't know? That's Mr. Ryan Carter, CEO of Carter Enterprises. He owns this hotel. And half the city, if we're honest." Emma's breath caught. "CEO? Billionaire?" The papers nearly slipped from her hands. She turned back toward him, watching as Ryan spoke calmly to a group of executives, his presence commanding, untouchable. This wasn't the man who had sat across from her in a cafe. This wasn't just her fake boyfriend. This was a man who had lied to her. She didn't wait. She stormed outside, heart racing, fury building with every step. Minutes later, Ryan found her standing by the hotel fountain, her arms wrapped around herself. "Emma," he said softly, approaching. She spun on him, eyes blazing. "Don't," his brow furrowed. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" she repeated, voice breaking. "You told me you ran a small company. Ryan, you're a billionaire. You own hotels and businesses and God knows what else. You lied to me." Ryan's jaw tightened. "I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything." Her laugh was bitter. "Don't twist words. You hid it from me. Why? Did you think I'd only stay with you for your money? Did you enjoy watching me stumble around like a fool while you held all the power?" He stepped closer, desperation flickering in his eyes. "No. I didn't tell you because I didn't want this to be about money. I wanted you to see me as a man, not as a billionaire." Emma shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. "You don't get it, Ryan. All this time I thought we were equals. But you've been keeping this huge secret while making me feel like you were the one protecting me. You've been controlling everything." His voice dropped, rough with emotion. "I wasn't controlling. I was protecting, and I'd do it again if it meant keeping you safe." She took a shaky step back. "Safe from what? From Liam? From my own family? Or from the truth about you?" The silence that followed cut deeper than any words. Finally, Emma whispered, "I don't even know who you are anymore." Ryan's face tightened in pain, but before he could reach for her, she turned and walked away, leaving him standing alone in the glow of the fountain, his hands clenched, his heart finally slipping out of his control. Emma spent the next few days avoiding Ryan. She ignored his texts, his calls, even the sleek black car that sometimes appeared outside her office. She couldn't face him. Not after discovering the truth, but no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't silence the memory of his kiss, the intensity in his eyes, or the pain in his voice when she had walked away. She told herself to stay strong, to move on. So when Liam invited her out for coffee after work, she said yes. The cafe was warm, filled with the smell of roasted beans and soft music. Liam leaned across the table, his smile kind, his voice gentle. "You've seemed a little off lately," he said softly. "If something's wrong, you can talk to me." Emma forced a small smile. "It's nothing, just life." Liam reached across the table, resting his hand lightly on hers. "Well, whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone." Her heart squeezed. Liam was sweet, safe, uncomplicated. Maybe being with someone like him would be easier. But before she could answer, a shadow fell over the table. Emma's breath caught. Ryan. He stood there in a dark coat, eyes like fire, his jaw set tight. People in the cafe turned to look, sensing the storm rolling off him. Emma's pulse raced. "Ryan, what are you—" He didn't even glance at her. His eyes were locked on Liam's hand, still resting on hers. "Move your hand," Ryan said, voice low, dangerous. Liam frowned. "Excuse me?" Ryan leaned forward, his presence towering, his tone sharp as glass. "I said move, your hand." Liam's jaw tightened. "Emma's free to sit with whoever she wants. She doesn't need your permission." The cafe grew quiet. Ryan's eyes snapped to Emma, burning, desperate. "Do you want this?" he demanded. "Do you want him?" Emma froze, caught between them. "Ryan, this isn't the place." He cut her off, his voice rough, almost breaking. "I can buy the world, Emma. I can control everything. But when I see you with him, I feel like I'm losing the only thing I can't replace." Her breath caught, her chest tightening painfully. Ryan's voice dropped lower, raw with truth. "Do you know what it does to me? Watching another man touch you? Hearing you laugh at his words? It's like a knife every single time. Because you're mine, Emma. You've always been mine. Silence. His confession hung in the air, wild and unrestrained. Liam pushed back his chair, tense. Emma, you don't have to listen to this. But Emma couldn't tear her gaze away from Ryan. His mask was gone, stripped away. There was no cold control left, only a man undone by love he could no longer hide. Ryan, she whispered, her voice trembling. His eyes softened, just for her. I don't care about the deal. I don't care about money or lies or rules. I only care about you. And I can't— His voice cracked. I can't watch you slip away. For the first time, Emma saw him not as the billionaire, not as the man who had controlled everything, but as someone terrified of losing the one thing he couldn't buy. And her heart began to falter. The cafe felt like it had stopped breathing. Emma's heart thudded, painfully as Ryan's words echoed in her chest. You're mine, Emma. You've always been mine. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. She was torn between anger at his lies and the raw truth in his eyes. Liam's voice broke the silence. Emma, you don't have to listen to this. Let's go. But before he could reach for her again, Ryan's hand shot out, gripping the edge of the table, his voice trembling. She's not leaving with you. The steel in his tone sent shivers down Emma's spine. Liam glared, standing, but Emma raised a hand. Stop, both of you! Her voice shook, but her eyes were clear. This isn't about who I sit with. This is about the truth. She turned to Ryan, her throat tight. Why didn't you just tell me? Why hide who you are? Ryan's chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. His mask was gone. He looked almost broken. Because I didn't want to scare you away. Every woman I've ever met has looked at me and seen money, power, Carter Enterprises. But you looked at me like a man, and I couldn't let that go. I couldn't let you go. Emma's eyes burned with tears. So you lied. You let me believe we were equals, while you kept this whole empire in your back pocket. And you think that makes me trust you more? Ryan flinched, but he stepped closer, lowering his voice until it was only for her. No, I don't expect your trust. I only hope for your heart. Because I swear, Emma, every time I look at you, I don't feel like a billionaire. I feel like a man who finally found the one thing he can't live without. Her breath hitched. Liam's hand brushed her arm gently. Emma, you deserve someone honest. Someone who won't play games with you. I'd never hide who I am. Emma looked at Liam, kind and steady, then back at Ryan, raw and trembling with love he could barely contain. Two worlds stood before her, safety and predictability with Liam, or chaos, fire, and truth with Ryan. Her heart already knew the answer. Liam, she whispered softly, her voice heavy with apology. You're good. You're safe. But my heart— She turned toward Ryan, tears spilling down her cheeks. My heart has never been safe with him, and I don't think I want it to be. Ryan's eyes widened, his chest heaving like he'd just been given air after drowning. He reached for her, hesitation flickering. Then she stepped into his arms before he could doubt. His embrace was fierce, desperate, like he'd been waiting forever to hold her this way. I was never ready for this love, Ryan, Emma whispered against his chest, trembling. It terrifies me. Ryan pressed his lips to her hair, his voice hoarse. It terrifies me too, but I'll spend every day proving to you it's worth the fear. He pulled back just enough to look into her eyes, his thumb brushing away her tears. You don't belong to anyone else, Emma. You belong to me, and I'll never let you go again. And this time, when his lips found hers, she didn't fight it. She melted into him, surrendering to the love she had run from, the love she had been unprepared to survive, but now couldn't imagine living without. If you like the story, hit the subscribe button for more stories.